Hello everyone, my name is Luca Bertoletti. I'm Government Affairs Director at B&K Agency. And in today's video, I want to discuss the Polish Presidency of the European Council and its importance for European defense. European Union defense policy has been reshaping completely since the Russian aggression, full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Since then, since 2022, there have been a broader discussion over if Europe should have a common army, what Europe can do in order to be a player, a military player and a defense player around the world. Polish president took this to its maximum level and called its presidency, its semester, security, Europe, which is a very good way to say that the entire project and the entire semester is going to be focused on the security of Europe. Security militarily, geographically, and also when it comes to energy supply. Let's start talking about what is happening with GDP spent in Europe on security and what is happening around the world. Since the invasion of Ukraine, all of the European countries and NATO countries has increased their budget to finally the 2% of GDP on security. But this doesn't really mean much. With President Trump entering into office in less than a week, now the European countries are discussing if Europe should increase to 5%. Right now, there's just one country in Europe which is spending 5%, in European Union, which is spending 5% of their GDP in security, in this Poland. What is happening around Europe is actually very problematic, and thankfully, President von der Leyen decided to have an entire commissioner on security, which is Mr. Kubilius, but a Lithuanian Kubilius. Because right now the 27 member states have 27 army that do not interact by themselves. There is a NATO standard, that's true, but there is no real European standard. So the job of Kubilius and the job of this commission and this presidency will basically be to try to integrate and try to actually have a common agreement among the 27 member states. And what I mean with common agreement, it doesn't mean to have a common army, but same type of purchase order, same type of, for example, call for tenders, same also vendors. Some of our armies are very dependent on Soviet era tanks and Soviet era guns, and some others are modern and very much dependent on European and American standards. There are something else very important that Polish presidency in this semester must close legislative, which is the European NIS2 directive. This is an obligation, a directive that has been discussed for many years, way before the full-scale invasion of Ukraine, to increase the cybersecurity of everything around in Europe, from the smart coffee machine that you can buy on Amazon to the critical infrastructure. In 2024 alone, 84% of European businesses reporting phishing attack. Some of them were very successful and some others were not. In this year, in 2025 alone, already 5 cyber attacks happened on European soil, either from malicious hackers or for state-backed hackers from China or Russia. The last one was in Italy on Saturday, when the entire website of the Ministry of Interior and some other banks, state banks, completely collapsed due to a Russian state attack. NIS2 has been something that Europe has been discussed for many years and been approved finally last year by the European Parliament, and is now slowly advancing to be implemented. What must be done by Poland is to actually increase the speed that NIS2 is implemented, because right now, with 84% of businesses being reporting phishing attacks and reporting accident, cyber attack accidents, the risk is this really escalated for the leaving consumers and businesses alone, fighting alone. Another very important key topic is actually energy infrastructure and the safeguard of the critical infrastructure in Europe. Many of you probably have heard about critical infrastructure due to the Russian attacks over the energy system in Ukraine, which is a critical infrastructure, but that's not only it. In Europe, critical infrastructure is, yes, of course, the entire energy system, but also the undersea cables and undersea oils that comes from Azerbaijan, Nigeria, Algeria, etc. in the Mediterranean, and the north, the undersea cables. Just in 2024 alone, we can report 6 different accidents happen from either sabotage or a real accident on the undersea cables in the Nordic Sea. Europe does not have a strategy. They don't have currently any mission, naval mission to defend either the critical infrastructure in the southern border or in the northern border, and this must be addressed very, very fast. We have seen that there is no reason why Russian or Chinese vessels will not destroy undersea cable, and it can be considered an accident because they are extraterritorial waters. But Europe must defend this critical infrastructure. The risk for economy and for business will be higher if Europe does nothing. Then we have actually another important topic, which is the critical infrastructure and the energy independence from either US or China. Right now, when it comes to rare minerals and rare materials, Europe is lacking way behind China and way behind the US. In the world, China has around 90% of the capacity to actually build something out of the rare materials. It's not really the extraction point, but it's more the working process after the extraction point, which is in the hand of Chinese. The extraction point right now is currently owned by China and the US. US is doing a very strong job of reshoring, and we believe that with President Trump, this will be even more possible thanks to his policy of trade instead of aid with African countries, boosting the trade in the countries that have rare material. And in this context, we can also see the comments on Greenland, Canada, and Panama from President Trump. Europe, on the other side, does not have any Africa strategy, any rare material strategy. There's been a rare material act, that's true, and was a good first step, but is not the best step. There is much more that must be done. And right now there are just 2 member states that have an Africa focused policy, which is France, for obvious reasons. They've been always very strong in that, even if they are losing military in some places, they've been very strong in Africa, and Italy thanks to Mattei plans. No other countries right now in Europe has a strategy. And this is very bad because the risk is that Europe will be way behind on the rare minerals and rare materials game, and will leave just to US and China the table, leaving Europe at the mercy of these 2 superpowers. Again, there is something that Poland would like to address but must address, and this is actually the entire satellite communication. So when it comes to satellite communication, this is something very interesting. Right now, the only real satellite communication that can happen on security communication that can happen is on Starlinks owned by Elon Musk. We have seen in the past few weeks many politicians in Europe rightly commenting against Elon Musk's view, very strong alt-right view on endorsing Alternative for Deutschland or the Brexit or the Reform UK party in the UK. But Starlink is not Elon Musk. Starlink is a company and is used already by the Pentagon and by many militaries around the world for security communication. Europe could have had an alternative that is called IRIS-2, which is the Infrastructure for Resilience, Interconnectivity and Security by Satellite program, which is a 10 billion initiative of 290 satellites launched by the European Union to increase the cybersecurity and increase the long-term security of the state-owned assets and the state-owned communication. Unfortunately, this plan has been lacking and has been way behind the schedule. It was supposed to start in 2024. In 2024, just 10 satellites have been launched to space, and by the time that all of in the realistic timeline that the Commission released last year, the only time that Europe will be able to have all of the 290 satellites in orbit will be actually in 2030. What is going to happen in 2030? Most likely satellite communication will be already something from the past. We have seen how fast and how speedy the technology is evolving. What does this mean? This means that Europe should not invest 10 billion on a project which we have already seen is lagging behind the US from at least 10 years behind the US. If we're lucky, Elon Musk started to launch satellites back in 2012, and now he has basically every single satellite that can be used by the on civil and military communication in orbits. But develop and invest in R&D. That's where Poland and we hope the European Union will be able to speed up. If they invest in R&D, they might be able to find the next way to communicate securely, which is not based on satellite. Otherwise, Europe will be again lagging behind the US, keeping it to be the country that is not the continent which is not able to have anything done by itself, but always ask help to the big sister, United States. And that's it for this video. We hope you liked it, and stay tuned for more videos on different topics in Europe.